Hey, Alicia. I'm so happy to have you here today to tell us about the great resignation and what that's like for you and your area of expertise. I know you teach about the five languages of appreciation. I've never read the book, but I did read the five languages of love. So, is there any correlations?
Yes, thank you, Glo, for having me here today. Yes, there is, because the same author, Dr. Gary Chapman, wrote The Five Love Languages, and he partnered with Dr. Paul White, who's another doctorate, and created the five languages of appreciation in the workplace. Why did he do that? He did it because those many executives that were reading the five love languages asked Dr. Chapman, is this pertinent to the workplace? Or can you create one that's pertinent to the workplace? Hence, we have the five languages of appreciation in the workplace. The essence of the manual is that it helps workplaces to have a harmonious environment. For the business owner, it reduces turnover costs. It helps to bolster the bottom line, increase the bottom line through retaining their employees. For the employee, it helps the employee feel valued and appreciated in the workplace, and helps that colleagues can speak the authentic appreciation language one to another. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that the five languages of appreciation in the workplace, we actually all have a primary and secondary appreciation language. Under the five love languages and under the five appreciation languages, it is the same, except for one area. Now, these languages are words of affirmation, being able to say a cheerful word to your colleague, which 46% of the population actually have, the working population have as their primary or secondary language. The second one is quality time, being able to associate, hang out, have a friendly moment with someone that you're in close working space with. The third one is acts of service, being able to chip in and help a person, especially when it's a tight timeline on a project, be able to give a helping hand. The fourth one is tangible gifts, getting to know your colleague, your circle of influence, and give them a gift. Nothing extravagant, but something that means something to them. Mm-hmm. And the last one is physical touch. Under the five love languages
in the workplace,
it's well, I'm about to explain it. In the five love languages, it's because it's a relationship. Where it comes to work, the workplace, it's limited to handshakes, fist bumps, pat on the backs, and high fives. Those four areas of human interaction.
Wow. I just learned something. Handshake, fist bumps, pat on the backs. And what was the last one?
High fives.
Ah, high fives. So a high five can go a long way. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Think about
yes.
that.
Yes. It's that tactile human interaction that is spontaneous. It's not planned out, but it occurs in the workplace just to say good job. Now, when it comes to words of affirmation, saying things like good job, we've experienced that many people much rather hear why it was a good job instead of just limited to good job, because that can go, anybody can say that. And yes, in having the five languages of appreciation in the workplace, we want to be able to give a word of affirmation but say why you're giving the word of affirmation, especially if that's the person's primary or secondary language.
Mm.
As I said before, the population has that gift of words of affirmation, 46% of the people. But here's the thing, 54% of the people in the work culture much rather have another manner of showing appreciation. One of the other four manners of showing appreciation. And many times we miss the mark. Here's where the challenge comes in. If words of affirmation is not your primary appreciation language, and the other person isn't aware of that and probably tries to give you a good word or tries to give you a tangible gift and it's not well received, it lives a little conundrum, like what happened, you know, because we missed the mark. How we solve that is through communicating with one another about the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. And also I have an assessment that helps you to understand what is your personal one, so that you can know how you want to have appreciation shown to you in the workplace. And also for the employee, if they want to, you know, show you appreciation, how you communicate that to them so that they understand what your primary or secondary language is.
So, what do I do if I have not been exposed to the book or your consultations? Do you have any tips for someone who might be listening as to how we can determine how to navigate this, utilizing this information without?
Sure, sure, absolutely. It's called communicating and just having a chat one with another, you know, showing how do you like to be appreciated?
So you think I should just ask my colleagues, just say, man, how do you like to be appreciated? And
Yeah,
just take a good
have a
note.
conversation. You know, say you experienced someone talking about appreciation in the workplace, and bring up the topic.
So, what size companies would your program be right for? I guess first we should even talk about the name of your company and where you're located and how can people get in touch with you?
Thank you so much for that. Yes, the name of my company is Make a Difference Consulting. I can be reached at 401-601-3207 or on the web at makeadifferenceconsulting.com. Email is Alicia at makeadifferenceconsulting.com as well.
Okay, thank you. So, back to my question too, like what size organization would benefit from your services, or did you just go from any size company?
Well, a company can hire me that's any size. I enjoy speaking before groups. I educate, I speak, and I coach on the authentic appreciation language. And if any company, small, medium, large, needs assistance, I'll be glad to help them.
Now, was there ever a time with your experience where you felt like this just won't work for a particular individual? And the reason why I asked that question, because I did have an experience with a manager, and it seemed to me like no matter what I did, it just was not right. She was not happy with me, and it was like an assault, like I was being targeted. I tried being quiet. I tried giving some positive feedback. I tried well, what can I do to be a better team player with all the accusations she was giving me? I tried everything. I feel like I tried everything, but nothing worked.
Wow, I'm sorry you had that experience, Glow, but here's the thing. My background is in human resources, and sometimes you have to go to human resources.
Well, I went there
Mhm.
and I seeked also legal consultation because I felt like it was out of control, and I wasn't trying to play the victim, but I felt, and then even some of my other colleagues was like, "Wait a minute, girl, you're usually the person people call when they have a problem." I don't understand what the
Yeah.
dynamic in this relationship is, and I'm saying this because someone might be listening that may be in a situation where they feel like they're being discriminated against, or maybe just in a tug of war with a difficult personality. So with your experience in being in HR, like how would you navigate that aside from going to HR and maybe getting legal consultation, but you really need your job or you really love your job and you really don't want this individual to stand in the way of, I guess, causing you to just give up on everything you worked for?
I understand that, Glow. Here's the thing. I personally would go to human resources and ask if there's an EAP, employee assistance program.
Mhm.
I'm working to become part of the company's EAP list so that they can get coaching on or get some kind of someone to talk to regarding the situation that can actually help them. But sometimes it's a mindset shift that you need to have in order to get along with someone.
Mhm.
Other times it's just creating a peaceful environment within yourself. And once your peace exudes, maybe the manager or the supervisor that's seeing something that they want to challenge, um, that peace will bring about peace for them as well.
So in essence, you're saying in this situation, the problem probably was me.
No, I'm not
I was
saying that. I'm
contributing because she kept
saying,
saying to me, like, "What's your contribution to the problem?" And I was like, "I don't understand. I keep asking you what's wrong, but I really don't understand." And she said, "Well, what do you think is wrong?" I said, "Well, why instead of me guessing, why don't you just tell me?" I mean, I
right,
wasn't laughing and being sarcastic because I would have been like
right.
pouring fuel on the fire. But looking back now, I'm sure it's really helpful in times like this when people are trying to hold on to their jobs. They're fearful of AI. They don't know. I mean, I'm sure most careers are gonna be impacted by AI, and people gonna have to learn something new, maybe some new technologies. But
Right.
just simply telling someone go to HR and kind of like hope for the best, it's not really comforting if you
Well,
really.
no, it is. It is comforting because you have a third party you can talk to and probably receive some kind of coaching in order to work with your supervisor or manager that's giving you the challenge.
Mm.
Getting a third person involved is always a good reason to say, I'm trying.
But they're not talking to the manager. This person, this third party, is just talking with, like, helping me navigate one on one with them, right?
Right. You are helping, and in some cases, that third party can intervene depending on what their specialty is. But the first thing is to create peace for yourself. So if you even if you want to look elsewhere, you're not feeling frustrated, you're not feeling worried or scared. You
Mm.
have peace within yourself. That's why you bring in a third party, talk to that person, get your foot grounded. If you feel that you want to look elsewhere, definitely do it. But at the same time, make sure you're not doing it because you're scared.
Mm. That's it's kind of like being in an abusive relationship, but making yourself whole and really learning from the situation before you just
Absolutely.
try to run away and
Exactly.
take it with you, right?
Right. Right. Create peace for yourself. Once you got that peace and you know that you've done the best you could, then take the next step.
Wow, it's funny because I did have some challenges, like most of us, and I went to a counselor, and she said, "Well, just remember this: wherever I go, there I am."
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's why creating peace for yourself is important,
right.
because you have that out, you have that force coming from, you know, the person that you respect as a manager, as a supervisor.
Mhm.
They're exuding their energy out to you. Of course you're gonna feel worried, of course you're gonna feel scared,
Mhm.
but it's not your force. You have your own force, and so you keep your peace and don't let them trouble you. Once you do that, you can move forward and go somewhere else, because you know you did your best.
Right, right. So, what are, maybe from your past experience, what are some other scenarios that folks may need to bring on someone with your specialty into their organization?
Can you rephrase that question?
So, for example, like aside from uh, someone struggling or with a manager, right? What other scenarios someone may need to hire you for their organization?
Um,
Like, if you have like an
with the
example.
five, yes, with the five languages of appreciation in the workplace, it's basically an education on how to have a harmonious workplace culture. Um, just to share a little bit about me, I have a master's degree in leadership from
Mhm.
Grand Canyon University, which is a Christian school in Arizona. And I'm also working on my doctorate, which is organizational leadership with an emphasis on organizational development, qualitative
Mhm.
research.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, there are there are so many reasons why somebody would want to bring in a speaker or a coach in order to create that working environment that's harmonious. Um,
I would say,
you
let
know,
me ask a better question then. Like, what type of challenges, aside from not the obvious not getting along, like what I experienced, right? Are there any key incidents where some organization or company may be like, well, let me call up Alicia because I want to learn how to get along better? Like, are there any
yeah,
triggers or
absolutely,
signs
absolutely.
for?
The signs or triggers or, you know, inclinations of needing to um, hire Make a Difference Consulting and Alicia Alexander would be, um, if your employees are not reporting to work,
Mm,
if your employees are calling out sick, um, if there's clicks going on that are intimidating other workers, you
ah,
know. So, and or if there's just basic miscommunication within the ranks of employees and supervisors, managers, just constant miscommunication. Um, those are good reasons why to hire Make a Difference Consulting and myself, Alicia Alexander.
I didn't even think about that. Usually, when you go to a workplace and you see a little click, at least in the back of my mind, I say, "Oh well, they've been working there for a long time, so they're already friends." And I guess that's a sign of not necessarily a good organization if people are too clicky.
It could be. It could be. I mean, a lot of times when you see a click going on, it's not advantageous to the work environment.
Mm, mhm,
You know, my experience has been, when I first started working, I worked for a very popular company, well known, well established. Yet the employees who are more senior than myself, I would hear negative things about the company. In one situation, I heard that, you know, from a manager's mouth, "Oh, we bring them in young and we burn them out."
Oh,
I was like, that's not very nice to myself, you know. But understanding, you know, what is said, words that we say in the workplace can make a difference.
mhm,
If it's negative, we need to educate to make it positive. If it's
mhm,
positive, you should have a great working environment.
mm, gotcha. I mean, I guess coming from the top, it's scary when negativity comes from the top, and
Mm.
that is an indicator. And I guess for a lot of folks right now, thinking about the great resignation, what does that mean to you as someone in the industry? Because I hear all kinds of things of what it means, but what does it mean from a professional standpoint?
Well, the Great Resignation is an event that has caused many people to resign from their jobs or be indifferent to their jobs
Hmm.
because of one reason or another.
Hmm.
Um, what what I've experienced is that 79% of people who leave their jobs, and this is part of the Great Resignation, leave not because of financing, but they leave because they don't feel like they're making a difference or they're making a contribution to their work culture or work environment. They feel a certain malaise or unimportant, not so much importance, but they feel indifferent
Hmm.
to where they work, so they want to look elsewhere.
Hmm.
Now, in some cases, the Great Resignation has led to um, additional small businesses being opened, people taking their talent and trying to um, make a living for themselves,
Hmm.
which is it's a positive thing, but at the same time, leaving their job because they don't feel like they're contributing to them is something that can be resolved through the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. Being able to show that employee that yes, you are contributing, yes, you are valued and appreciated.
So it's like the
And
stress associated with not being
mhm,
appreciated and feeling worthless.
yes, yes, and that's 79% of that happens.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's tons of information out there. You would think we all know how to get along by now, but having access to so much.
Sometimes it's not even just getting along. It's feeling like you have a teammate instead of being isolated in the workplace. And I think that as we understand one another through communication, we can resolve that. It's not something that is unresolvable, you know?
I agree. A little bit goes a long way. I know a buzzword, well, a few months back was emotional intelligence. So I would imagine as they go through your program, it would enhance their emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. Yes. It's
Yeah.
more like individualization, being able to look at the employee from a business owner's perspective and see the individual that they are. Are they a single parent? Are they
Mhm.
divorced? Are they working with you know, family situations that go beyond them?
Mhm.
You know, looking at the individual and helping them understand that yes, we value you, we appreciate you, and you are making a contribution to this environment, this work culture. So given the opportunity to feel that they're part of a team instead of isolated.
So, for our moms in business who will be listening to this, do you have any special tips based off of your experience for them?
Wow, that's a great question. I love it. Yes, I would say where you work, they need you.
Hmm.
They wouldn't have hired you, put out the put on the Indeed application or advertisement. That's what I'm looking for. Advertisement, and call in or make a approach to the company through Indeed or whatever business website that hires people. So having that opportunity shows that should help communicate that one, they are needed, and two, they are valuable. If you're having a challenge because being a mom, whether with a partner or not, let somebody find somebody who will be sympathetic or empathetic and just talk it out. Communication is so important in the workplace because we can just go in, do our job, and leave, and have so many other things going on, and nobody know. And then one day, something happens, and nobody ever saw it coming.
Well, actually, that did happen to me. I had a coworker. Everything seemed fine. I worked night shift at the time, and the following, that was like a Thursday, and Monday when I returned to work, they said the person was not coming back to work. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean, not coming back to work? Like, like, tell me more. Okay, no, they won't be back to work. And it didn't register to me, but nobody told anyone in the department where this person went. A family member contacted the facility and told us that this person's not coming back to work. I don't want to disclose too much information about it, but
right.
We had to respect that. And it turns out the person committed suicide. And you think, like you said, working so closely alongside this person, like nobody really knew that this person was experiencing so much stress at the job. Now, there were other contributing factors we learned months later, right? But who would have known that this person was that stressed out? I mean, I'm sure we could have a whole other conversation about suicide and all this stuff. I don't know if this is appropriate, but it's not a light subject that people feel so stressed out. And especially when you start to have like altercations and disagreements in the workplace, which is like your second home away from home for most people. I mean, nowadays, I know a lot of people work from home, and I guess a few years from now, we'll see how that's impacted people as well. Because for me, being at home, I always have to remind my husband that, hey, I didn't physically see people all day, right? So I'm just here in my quiet space all day. But like I said, years from now, we're probably going to see the impact of that coming out for people being in like probably isolation. I don't know, maybe if you don't have kids, you may not miss the noise so much, but at least adult conversation, it'll be interesting to see what those studies look like and how it impacted us as a result of working from home. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's important. I just want to share that the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace book that I coach and educate and speak on has a chapter on hybrid work and remote work, how to include and how to allow those people who are working in hybrid or remote settings to feel appreciated and part of the organization as well.
Well, in closing too, I also want to remind some of the moms, and if you could expound on it a little bit more, how costly it is for a company even to hire someone, so they can be aware that the company is taking a chance hiring them and they're actually losing money if it doesn't work out.
Right, right. And that's key to when it comes to the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace, being able to mitigate high turnover and having the information to help the person to see that you're valued, you're important, so that we can retain the employee in a setting that is favorable for both the business owner and the employer.
Mhm.
No one is favored more than the other. It's just a working synergistic environment.
Mhm.
And when you lead something that is a work environment, there is a cost associated, and there's a mental cost associated, because it
Mhm.
feels like, you didn't achieve your goal
Mhm.
when you were initially hired.
Mhm.
So, it's just it's a matter of being able to understand that contributions are made on both sides,
Mhm.
and how to harmoniously work together so that it's a great environment for everyone to thrive in.
Right. Well, I'm sure someone somewhere will find this information helpful, especially if they're a mom sitting on the fence wondering if they should go back to work. Is it worth it? Should they start their own business? Like all these questions that come to mind when you have to provide for your family. And I'm
Yeah.
sure this will be useful information, whichever decision they decide. So thanks, Alicia, for joining me here today. And make sure
Well, I
we
just
have.
want to say in
Go ahead.
closing, I want to
Mhm.
say in closing, whatever you decide to do, whether it's to own your own company or to make to remain an employee, start where you are in having appreciation as your language and being able to communicate it to others. Just start where you are. Don't feel like, oh, I have to go to another place to have greener pastures. You can
Mhm.
have greener pastures where you are, and have such a great relationship that you want to remain in your position, or you want to have your own company and be able to share that knowledge with other people as well.
Yes, I agree. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, make sure we've got your information on our Mompreneur Source directory so folks know how to find you, and we can link it back to this clip because we share each other's business with each other. And that's how we can make our marketing much more effective. So thank you so much. And you take care and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye, go.